Welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, Tar Heel Illustrated, I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner. And joining me from PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, just about a 20-30 minute drive from his house in Raleigh, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And Andrew, you saw North Carolina lose 79-76 to the Wolfpack. A tough game. I know Carolina ultimately against State, especially in PNC Arena, has been pretty successful, particularly under Roy Williams, but wasn't to be tonight. First thing I want to talk about, though, AJ, sense of urgency was a major issue. I think Roy Williams said sense of urgency 5-6 times during his press conference after the game. So that was a major concern. It was super evident for me watching from home on TV. Was it as evident for you there in person? I imagine it had to be.
Yeah, he cited a couple of specifics to illustrate part of the sense of urgency issue and what went wrong. And one of them, for example, was dealing with the ball screens, those high ball screens. And there were where we were seated. They have us in a different spot here this year. They had us in the concourse, and I was like right at what would be the 50-yard line, essentially.
Oh, nice.
Had a nice spot, and I could look down. And early in the game, the State's possession was a little bit to my left. I could see where there'd be a high ball screen, and the communication was so bad between the big and the guard that they would often, the guard might stay with this guy and the big might switch or vice versa, and it would leave someone wide open. Mm-hmm. And it was a dump down for layups, or it was a dribble drive because they'd both leave the ball, and it'd be a wide open drive in the lane. They would either get a layup if there was no help side defense, which they lacked tonight, or if there was the occasion where Carolina helped out defensively, they'd kick out and there'd be a wide open guy in the perimeter. Mm-hmm. So the terrible defense was a byproduct of the lack of sense of urgency. And that affected them on the offensive end too. It affected them in transition. They turned the ball over 3 of their first 4 times. They knew State was going to pressure. They talked about it yesterday. And NC State was able to kind of get Carolina out of sorts right out of the gate. And it took until the last 4 minutes of the first half when Roy lit into them at the under 4 timeout, where Carolina actually had a sense of urgency. And Armando, by the way, or RJ Davis, by the way, said after the game that Roy told them, if you play 40 minutes like you did those 4 minutes, you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, exactly.
But they didn't. And they only had a couple snippets like that. And we're 8 games in right now, Jacob. We've talked a lot about things that we like during snippets of games. But now that you're in conference play, and you're going on the road to play a solid NC State team, good snippets aren't going to get it done. And they learned that tonight. The bad starts, the lack of sense of urgency, like an apparent lack of like on-court leadership out of the gate in games, no dog-type mentality on the floor is something that has been apparent. And this is 6 times now in 8 games in which they've fallen behind by 11 or more points. They were able to climb back and catch everybody else until tonight. They got it to 63-62, and Playtech had a beautiful baseline drive, drew a foul, hit the free throw, cut it to 1, and then State went on like a 12-2 run. Mm-hmm. So lack of sense of urgency can be a skill when it's there all the time, and it's a real detriment when it's not. Right now, it's a detriment to this team because it kind of leads to so many of the things that they're not experienced enough and so skilled enough that they can work their way through just because they're just better. A lot of times in the past, we've heard Roy say, look, we were just better. They got better guys. Well, they have really talented guys, but they're not better yet. They have to grind. They had to grind one out to beat Kentucky. They had to grind one out to beat Stanford. That needs to be their DNA for 40 minutes every time they take the court. If they do that, then the other problems won't be such big issues. Some of the problems that we're going to discuss here in a second.
Exactly. Another problem that perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about next is just poor shooting from guards continues. The likes of RJ Davis, Caleb Love, averaging both out shooting below 40% on the season right now. You look at their stat line and you see 11 points apiece, but overall they're you talked about at the end of the game, they had a handful of shots. I think you said 6 shots or something that none of them went in, which could have got
last 7.
Yeah, exactly.
And last 7 shots, the 2 of them missed 6 of the 7. Go on.
And that you're good. And that kind of tells you all you need to know about how they kind of shot overall in the game. But you're looking at those 2 guys. Obviously, you're relying on 2 true freshmen, which is dangerous. It can be a little bit dangerous at times. You would expect Caleb and RJ to shoot at a higher clip than they have been shooting. With that being said, but it's just poor shooting from the guards. It just kind of continues to let this team down. And when they do lose games, like you said, they've lost 3 already. When in those 3 lost games, it's kind of been the same theme, especially from the guard position.
Well, in fairness to them, and Roy was made a point to say this, that that's not why they lost. It's one of the reasons why they lost. It's one of the reasons why they're 5-3 and a couple of narrow wins. There's a lot of blame to go around for why they've lost some of these games, and certainly why they lost tonight. Roy was quick to point out that Garrison Brooks was like 5 for 14 from the floor tonight, but Caleb and RJ combined were 8 for 28. They got to be better than that. And it wasn't like they were missing just super contested shots that State was in their grill the whole time, and they had to get off shots because somebody had to shoot the ball. You know, Caleb missed some soft stuff near the rim that was uncontested. He just short on a lot of stuff, and I think it's a little. I've seen it a million times, man.
Yeah, man.
Kids struggling, the confidence in there, and everything.
And it gets short a little bit.
Exactly, a little bit tight. The ball's usually short. It's usually not long. And that was happening with him tonight. They did miss those last 7 shots. Carolina cut it 77-73 with 2:45 left. They missed 7 straight shots, 6 were by those 2. RJ, as you said, he's around 36% from the floor. But Caleb's numbers are, I mean, they're almost not even believable. He's 4 for 34 from 3-point range, which is 11.8%.
Yeah,
and he's shooting 28% from the floor overall. I mean, you got to figure at some point he's going to catch. It's going to start happening. I was watching him during shoot around today, and he was putting a lot of effort out there. Everything looks okay. There's no, when you watch him, you don't think, hey, that guy's in a horrible shooting slump. He's
not at all.
Doesn't look like that kind of guy. So when you get in the game, things change. We talked about Andrew Platek the last couple of years, how lighten it up in practice, and he gets out into a game and he hesitates and he misses. Well, he's not hesitating now. He's catching and shooting, and the ball's going through the basket. It's rhythm stuff. It's the stuff that they work on for hours and hours and hours when nobody's watching. Well, Caleb's shots don't quite look like that 100%, but it's in his mind. He's not feeling during a game, I'm sure, the way he feels when he shoots around at 9:30 at night in the gym when a friend's rebounding for him.
Yeah, no
so
way.
He's got to transfer that over into games, and it's chicken or egg thing. What's going to come first? You can't have confidence till you start making them. But man, it looks like he needs confidence in order to make them. It's going to happen at some point. We talked about that after Kentucky, but they need it to happen fast. They've played 8 games. This is a shortened season. They're almost a third the way through the season. They're already in ACC play. There's no more patsies on the schedule. It's conference play from here on out. So those kids need to speed it up. And they need to hit some shots. They need to take better shots. The bigs need to do a better job of making themselves available. And when, take a lesson from Armando, we're going to talk about in a second. He gets the ball. He makes decisive, quick moves. So
exactly.
They got
perfect
work on.
Yeah,
they got a ton to work on. But man, even with all the stuff that went wrong tonight, if Caleb and RJ are 10 for 28 from the floor, they win the game.
Having a different
That's
conversation.
Crazy when you think about it.
I know you're exactly right, man. It's just getting to a point with them. You have that kind of a freshman excuse for a few games, but 8 games, 9 games in now, going into your 9th game ACC play, you got to be better than that.
I think the freshman excuse is more the speed of the game. The game's slowing down, adapting. You're not going against high school guys, but basketball players are basketball players. They've been on campus playing since the summer. They played against Kobe White for a while. The bigs went up against Zeller and Andrew and those guys. They're at North Carolina. They're not practicing against you and me, man.
No,
they're
definitely
practicing against dudes every day. So, but it's different when you step on the court. If you've never played high level, and I know you did, you're a big time soccer player in high school. When you step on the field, it's different.
Oh, absolutely.
You're getting the other guy's best, and you got to give your best. It's just very, very different. They're turning the lights out here.
Exactly.
So,
hey, the lighting still looks good on you. The lighting still gets good on you, man. Yeah, for sure. Last thing I want to talk about, AJ, we'll focus on a quick positive. Armando Bacot, you kind of alluded to that. 16 points for him tonight. Roy Williams said it in his press conference that Armando's been playing some big-time basketball for him so far this season. So if you're going to take a positive away, Armando's having a pretty good season so far.
Yeah, well, Armando's been their best player through 8 games. He's been very efficient. He's 35 for 47 from the floor after going 7 for 19 tonight, or 7 for 9, excuse me. He made some mistakes, but everybody's going to make mistakes. But he definitely stands out. When we talk to him, he's clearly a different guy. He's absolutely
100%.
matured in all the ways that we talked about. He needed to mature. I'm sure Roy had that conversation with him, and it's showing up on the court. When he gets the ball in the block, his movement is very efficient. He's using his movement, using his space very, very well, and he's very difficult to defend. He's going up. He's using his left shoulder. He's using his right shoulder really well. He's using both hands really well. He doesn't catch the ball and hold on to it forever and allow everybody in the building to get down and defend him. Very decisive with what he does. So Armando's been an enormous bright spot. And when the guards get better, Armando's going to get better, and Garrison's going to get better. Garrison's still struggling to kind of fit in a little bit too. But at least Armando has been a constant. Even the Iowa game, he only had 4 points. He got 11 boards. Did a pretty nice job on the times he was on Garza that night.
Exactly. Yeah. Armando Bacot's definitely a positive. And like you said, going back to last year, he looks like a completely different player so far this year. But Carolina dropping its first game at ACC play tonight, 79-76 in PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina to NC State. AJ, I'm going to let you run, man, before they kick you out of the arena.
Yeah. All right, bud.
As always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, be sure to like it, be sure to share it, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.